I've played this game before, except instead of being underwater, I was floating around a desert. Made by the art director of that particular game, Journey, you can safely say that Abzu is essentially the same game in a different location with a bunch of important things taken out of it. Released in mid-2016 and made by Giant Squid, Abzu is an underwater walking simulator, exploring the ruins of an ancient civilization whilst restoring the environment. Journey also has you explore ruins of an ancient civilization, whilst making your way to the point of interest indicated at the start of the game. Journey offers a lot more when you reflect back and look at the two. And obviously, as you might be able to tell, I'm a little bit torn about this, as after playing it, everything about Abzu kind of just mirrored Journey. From key moments of Journey, let's say that one shot we all know about, to Abzu just mimicking the same shot. And sure, you could say that it's playing homage, but it just feels cheap. But in saying that, I do think that the game is beautiful and should be played by those who loved Journey. I think the main point of this review is going to be mainly saying to play Journey first if you haven't played either, as it clearly is the better game. And I really don't want to be negative, as Abzu is good, it's just not as good. If you haven't played either game, this review is more for you, as I'll be comparing the two games, aspect by aspect, without revealing any of the story or major parts of the game. So each game has you start off with each character kind of coming to and granting the player the ability to actually play. The traveler makes their way up to this hill and then is greeted by an indirect objective. This screen also expresses the scale of the journey that you're about to undergo. In Abzu, the diver just wakes up and swims to an opening and grabs a fish and goes for a ride, instantly greeted by a beautiful reef filled with vibrant colors and vivacious fish swimming in all different directions. The locations between the two games are dramatically different, yes, from an empty graveyard-like desert with some small landmarks ahead, to a small condensed vibrant reef packed with fish. But to contrast all the life that you have in the reef, in the desert you are greeted by magical fabric that in its way modifies the dress that you're wearing, essentially an in-game consumable, kind of like grabbing fuel or nitros or some shit, I don't know. Interacting with the environment in Abzu is generally to the extent of releasing fish from whatever these are, to digging up robots and ordering them around, and that's fine. Minimal interaction is something that I'm used to when I play walking sims. Some of my favorite games are walking sims and involve next to no interaction. Now, speaking of these robots, within any moment whilst playing Journey, you may come across other travelers. Journey is in fact a multiplayer game, even though it isn't inherently one, having other players appear and then sometimes disappear at any time. I've played Journey several times, and let's say one time I had someone by my side the entirety of the game. Another time when I did play it, they were there for the start and then I didn't see them again. I've also watched my friend play it and he had someone jump in and out, and by the end of the game he had 3 different people within his game. Generally, you'll find at the start of your journey someone will be there. You cannot communicate via talking with mics or emojis or text. You can only communicate via wordless shouts. And I really find it a beautiful way to implement multiplayer. Abzu isn't a multiplayer game, and that is fine. The robots mimic the rhythm that the driver pulsates. The robot drones also mimic the way that the player rolls and such, and this is a really nice way to replace the loss of multiplayer. However, I kind of did miss having my sidekick by my side with someone to tweet to. The robots also, in another way, were kind of a shitty version of the cloth creatures from Journey. Throughout your travels, you'll come across many different types of cloth creatures. They also have kind of their own personality in comparison too. And we are talking about a sheet of cloth here, mimicking the movements of land and sea animals. The resemblance of sea is also found in Journey 2. Journey taking the player through many micro-environments and locations, from desert vistas to dark watery dry caverns, to finally ending up in snowy peaks. Journey truly does live up to its name, and takes the traveller through various locations and tells the story about the land and its ancestors. Meanwhile, Abzu's reefs were all aesthetically different, but kind of just felt we were jumping from aquarium to aquarium. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I never felt like anything was new until the last quarter of the game with these alien-like mechanical structures and bombs. Overall, I am sounding quite negative, and please don't misinterpret that. Just be prepared for an experience which is nowhere close to how magical Journey was. The thing that really cemented me on this opinion was the last and final chapter. I wish I could show you the footage, but I don't really want to spoil it. But let me just say this, they are identical. Now obviously different locations, but tonally and as well as the freedom that the player has whilst you're playing it, it is identical. And because of that, I feel like it's a cheaper experience. Both games cost $20, Abzu on consoles and PC, and Journey obviously being an exclusive for PS3 and PS4. I cannot recommend enough you find someone's PlayStation and you play that instead. If you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, hit the like and sub button. This is Shawnee Maurice from Hihu, thanks for watching.